Hail landscaper, and welcome to mulching. This is where things are gonna really look great. There are a couple of steps that we're gonna go over in this video to talk about how to go about mulching. That's right, it's not just putting down mulch and spreading it around like icing on a cake. There are a few preparatory things that we're gonna do before that to make this look really great. First off, we're gonna define our edges. Secondly, we're gonna apply pre-emergent. And thirdly, we are going to bring in mulch and spread it out. Finally, we're going to tamp down the edges and make sure that it looks good across the entire board. And there you have it. That's how to do mulching. So let's get into it. Defining the edges. What does this mean? This means that we are going to go along and we're going to cut a bed edge in along where the bed meets the grass. And this does a couple of things. This keeps the grass where it's supposed to be and the mulch where it's supposed to be. So essentially, where the lawn meets the bed, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that bed and we're gonna cut straight down along the line of the bed edge, along where the grass is. And sometimes you'll get a little grass on the inside, that's okay. We're just looking for a straight, clean line where the bed edge is. And then we're gonna come on the bed side and we're gonna strip out down about 2 to 3 inches. And so what you end up with is a V that comes down off the bed into a trough that then comes up, straight up, to the lawn. And this does a really great job of defining the edge and keeping the lawn where it's supposed to be and the mulch where it's supposed to be, because the mulch will then come and sit in that trough and it'll be harder for it to wash out. In fact, it makes a little channel for water to follow if the beds overflow, and it just keeps things neat and tidy. All right, the second thing that we're gonna do is hard edging. So if your bed edge comes up against a hard surface like a walkway or the driveway or something like that, this is going to keep the mulch down and keep it from spilling over the edges of your hard surfaces. So let's take a look at how that's done. If your landscape bed comes up to a hard surface like a patio or a walkway or your concrete drive, what you can do is called hard edging. You want 2 inches down from the edge of the hardscape, and you want that all the way along all the surfaces. So I'm just gonna start in the back corner here, and I'm gonna run a flat shovel along the hard surfaces, just like this. It's a plow that's moving things out, and then I'm gonna come back and sweep off the dirt that got onto the hard surface. Now that the edging is done, we've defined the edges, it's time to put down a pre-emergent, which is a weed deterrent. It deters weeds from germinating. So if they're in seed form, which is often the case when you put down compost, it's gonna keep them from actually growing, which is great, because the last thing that we want to do is come back here to a landscape bed full of weeds. So if pre-emergent is something that your company does, put down your pre-emergent at this time. As with all chemistries, make sure that 1, you are qualified to apply this product, and 2, that you follow the instructions and the rules on the label. Remember that the label is the law. Now, I'm not qualified to tell you about how to put down and apply chemicals, but I'm gonna trust that your company knows what they're doing when it comes to this. Okay, and the third thing, putting down the actual mulch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spot out the mulch in the bed itself, and then we are going to come over it with a rake, and we're gonna wanna spread it about 3 inches thick on the first application. And there are a couple reasons for this. One is that 3 inches is a lot of space for weeds that actually do manage to germinate despite your pre-emergent to come up through that mulch. And so it's kind of smothering everything that might grow that is not actually supposed to be there. So that is one reason to have mulch, is to deter weeds. And the second reason is that will allow for some of the stuff on the bottom to decompose. And you might have come across landscape beds that have just a little skiff of mulch in them, and then it's just bare dirt. This is gonna prevent that, because ideally you should put down 2 to 3 inches on your first application and then come back every year with about 1 inch for retouching. So if you are retouching a place that already has mulch, come over it with just 1 inch of mulch. And what that'll do is just make it look nice. It'll give you enough to spread around the landscape bed, but not so much that you are drowning the plants that are there in way too much mulch and like leaving huge mounds of mulch all over the landscape bed. And then finally, we're gonna tamp down those edges both on the landscape bed edge and around any hard surfaces, not just hard surfaces that happen to be walkways or adjacent to the landscape bed. So that's it for how to mulch a bed. Remember to set your edges, put down your pre-emergent, pick up anything that's left in the bed, and then finally spot out your mulch, spread it, and tamp the edges, make it nice and smooth, keeping your rake level and flat as you pull it across the top of the mulch. You don't want any lumps or clumps when you're done, so make it nice and smooth. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.